What's up, everybody? Jagaloons, we are live. How we doing? How we feeling?
Oh, bow tie live, baby.
Doing excellent, thank you.
Because I got a bow tie on.
Eddie's got a bow tie on every podcast, and we never, ever shoot video.
I want everybody to know, though, that it doesn't match his shorts.
Oh, calling him out, dude. Gold bow tie, piss yellow shorts.
SpongeBob yellow shorts.
Piss
those are
yellow.
Come on now.
I got these. I got these in Hawaii, man, for free.
Well,
There's a button missing from the top, but if you put your belt on correctly, you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. So
well, you can't turn down free. That's for damn sure.
yeah, I found them in a drawer. So I guess I took them.
So you didn't. That's so suspect. Dude.
Still free.
How do we know that those shorts weren't white at one point, and someone just pissed them away and left them in their drawer?
I guess we don't know.
Valid. All right. So yesterday there's some humongous fights, giant fights.
Death.
Yeah.
Certain death.
Somebody died.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, that was a
little loud there, man.
Yeah, the mic was turned backwards.
Well, let's start with the. I just want to start with the straight up Justin Gaethje and the Eddie Alvarez fight.
Oh my God! It was a gladiator. It was a gladiator fight, just in person. Like we flash back to the days of Rome.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Gaethje, when he was landing those leg kicks, it was. I mean, was there anything else that he really had in the fight?
Well, I think he was pushing the pressure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think he might have been winning that fight up into that because Alvarez was looking
pretty beat.
Yeah, he wasn't looking great.
Yeah,
it wasn't looking great.
Man.
But listen, Gaethje was game and Alvarez was game, and it lived up to the standards that people had written for it. So I thought it was a great fight. And goddamn, Alvarez, man, shout out to him because he just never gave up. He just never gave up.
Had a gobstopper in his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And his leg was torn to shit.
I couldn't believe that was real.
Yeah.
I swear I thought he was sticking his tongue in his cheek.
Yeah, that's what I thought. When my uncle was like, look at his cheek. I'm like, no, I think he's sticking his tongue in his cheek.
He's just fucking around, dude.
And then he comes out the next round and it looks like he's got a basketball in his mouth.
Man, dude.
Jesus, man. Yeah, that was a great fight. And I'm curious to see, did he hit him with the knee he landed? Was it on his bad leg?
It was with his left leg. So his lead leg, because he's an orthodox fighter, right?
Yeah, so it would be his
bad leg. So it would
be,
yeah.
Yeah, it was his bad leg, yeah.
So he had to push off of that.
Ooh.
And throw that in. That's nasty, man. That's nasty. And then after that, Francis Ngannou killed a man.
Yep.
He's scary. He's absolutely scary.
When Alistair Overeem went in for the takedown immediately, it was almost like when I was talking to Cody about this yesterday, when Donald Cowboy Cerrone was fighting Darren Till, he went straight into a takedown at one point. When I seen Cowboy going in for a takedown against Darren Till, when he's traditionally a Muay Thai fighter, I'm like, oh, he knows he's in trouble.
Yeah.
Same thing with Alistair. Went straight into a takedown. I was like, oh.
A pathetic takedown. But
right. Well, it was like, I didn't even realize how big Ngannou was until they were clinched up together in the cage. He made Overeem look tiny. Like teeny.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is not a normal human. Like, this is a different breed of human.
When he was putting the pressure on him.
Dude.
And
you just saw Overeem.
Scared for his life.
Dude. Yeah, well, I guess there was an interview with Stipe that DC had with Stipe, kind of like a couple months even before this fight took place. And Stipe said that they could put King Kong in there with him and he'd still beat King Kong. And Brendan Schaub tweeted him and was like, Francis Ngannou would knock out King Kong.
Yeah.
Like, you might be right, dude. That guy is King Kong. Like, he is a fucking animal.
Dude. Oh, dude, speaking of... Brett, we'll get back to the fights here, but Brendan Schaub, he started a ketogenic diet.
Did he?
Yeah, he's like day 7.
Okay, because he was on... God, he was a...
Day 7.
What was he on before? He was a pescatarian for a while, too, which is what my girlfriend is. I know we were talking about this yesterday, but she eats fish. She only eats fish.
So like a pescatarian, vegetarian.
Yeah, kind of a mix. Because I think she does it because it's it's easier at restaurants. Like if there's if there's nothing to order, fish is always on. Like there's always something that you can like. All right, I guess I'll get the salmon.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's generally okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get into all the health stuff. But let's just talk about the ending of this beautiful card.
Definitely.
Holloway, not much to talk about there. He just overwhelmed Aldo. He dragged him into deep water. He said a perfect quote.
Yeah.
He said, "My coach told him to drag him into deep waters because he can't swim there, and I drowned him."
Yeah.
He did.
He brought chaos, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
I think it was more controlled chaos, though.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing right when he got in there.
yeah.
I think the most impressive thing about that was his willingness to take shots. He said he was like, I'm gonna be okay with getting hit because it's gonna allow me to get like he's gonna feel more comfortable in this slugfest if he hits me. So I'll get hit, but I'm gonna hit him back, and I know that I'm gonna be better, and he's gonna wilt under my pressure. And that's exactly what he did. But McGregor posted a picture on Instagram of Max Holloway after their fight, and Max's eyes are all fucked up.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, I missed those sunglasses, mate. And Holloway posted something back at him where it was like UFC upgrade, and it was a picture of McGregor and then a picture of Holloway, and he's like, retired fighters always live in the past or something like that.
Yeah. They love old stories or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, I saw
Something
that
like
this
that.
morning.
So I mean, Holloway's not wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, McGregor's always talking shit about everyone, but he hasn't been in the octagon for quite some time. So
It's been over a year since he fought
yeah,
Eddie Alvarez, right?
God damn.
Yeah.
If anything, Eddie's win just makes that win more impressive, because if Eddie could withstand all that punishment and come back to knock someone out,
Oh
and
my
Conor
God.
just put him in a garbage disposal and shredded him up. I mean,
That's a great thing about that kind of fight is like it could go either way at any point in time,
yeah,
which is why it's so freaking exciting.
I love that fight. I wish that more fights were like that. And I think now that Eddie has that, he has that kind of reputation for doing that now, this newfound glory, this newfound reputation, he's going to bring that every fight. He's just going to come at it. And I don't know many fighters that are going to be able to deal with that.
Or want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, are you going to accept that fight, man? I don't know. I don't want to. If I'm a young guy, I don't want. That's the same thing with like Frankie Edgar and the Taekwondo guy.
Trying to think.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? The guy that Frankie
What weight
Edgar
class?
just
Oh, okay. Oh, yep. I mean, he was a great fighter. Just, I mean,
young, really good. Like the guy that fucked up BJ Penn. What the hell's his name?
mm,
I can look it up.
yeah, look it up.
He was just too young, too fast, and how am I connected to the Wi-Fi here already?
Oh, I don't know.
All right.
Well, anyway, he's just too far ahead. He's a veteran.
Well, I think part of it too is just that like, it's that anyone he fights, they're gonna have to deal with that pressure. Yair Rodriguez.
Oh, okay.
But like, if I'm a young fighter and I get offered a fight against Alvarez, I don't want to accept that fight. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like think about if Sugar Sean, for instance. I know they're at different weight classes, but someone like that, it was a hype train behind him, and Eddie Alvarez is the gatekeeper. Fuck, dude. Like, I might learn a lot from that loss, but I definitely don't want to go through that fight. This is gonna be a war.
Oh, yeah.
But all right, let's switch avenues. Let's get into this science
Sweet
behind the
Let's do it.
ketogenic diet. We were talking yesterday about you said something really interesting about how the human brain has changed and kind of morphed through that period of time where was it Homo erectus to Homo sapiens, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So kind of the middle ground between monkeys and human, and then just going to that full caveman type of existence.
Right.
And just kind of explain like what happened in the brain and why did it happen.
Right. So first off, humans evolved. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Hot take.
Hot take. Yeah. you heard it here first. So I mean, it's debated. Obviously, we don't know. Nobody was there from now. But one of the theories is that as we were evolving and we had a smaller brain, we began to eat animal brains and animal liver and heart, which are rich in fats and especially omega-3 fats. and that, or omega-3 fats, and that this new source of energy allowed our brains to grow bigger.
Okay. So, and that kind of led into what we were talking about with this this ketogenic diet and these we were talking about MCT oils yesterday and why they are so beneficial for your brain, and you were talking about how the brain enjoys fats more as an energy source than anything else.
Right.
So that would be why the ketogenic diet works so well.
One of the main reasons why. So when you eat a ketogenic diet, your main source of energy is fat. So you're eating about 70% of your calories from fat, roughly 20 to 25 protein, and then they say 5% carbs. Obviously, that varies from person to person, but generally you want to keep it below about 50 grams a day. For reference, that's like 2 medium bananas.
Okay. So, what is your day-to-day diet looking like carb-wise?
Carb-wise, I definitely hit that below 50 daily for sure.
So, run us through 3 meals a day for however many. What are you eating?
Yeah, it's about 3 meals a day. First meal is like a ketogenic coffee or a bulletproof coffee. Some people call it. So that's it's coffee with it's got the MCT in it. It's got some butter. I do a scoop of protein. Then just blend that up and drink that. That's pretty early in the day, between 7 and 8 o'clock. And then I do a intermittent fast. So I fast until about 3 o'clock.
And you're doing 10 hours or 12 hours a day? Because there's some people that do they don't eat before noon, they don't eat after 8, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I'm generally done eating by about 8, and then beyond the coffee that I have in the morning, I don't eat anything until 3 p.m. So if you exclude the coffee, it's like a 16-hour fast, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that fast include water? Because I heard Rogan was talking about it and how he does intermittent fasting as well. And he says he won't drink water. Oh, really? Even after 8, 9 o'clock. He'll wake up in the middle of the night and want a cup of water, but he won't do it, right? Because, I guess fasting,
I don't see the issue with water.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I don't know. Maybe, but I guess...
I would say it's a form of deprivation.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I don't know.
Right. But if you think about traditional ancestors, they went to deprive themselves of water.
Right. That seems a little strange.
Yeah. I don't know any science behind that.
Maybe it's just one of those things where all right, now I have a glass of water and I'm drinking it okay, now I'm hungry. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how I am. If I have if I'm drinking anything, I'm always all right, well, now I kind of want to eat something and go with this. I can't just drink.
Sure.
If I'm sitting at this, I don't mind a cup of water or something, but yeah, definitely feel the need to eat
the
something.
Connect. Yeah, there's definitely a connect between drinking water and then probably wanting to eat.
Right.
To combat that, hydration with salt, probably.
Yeah. So a lot of people on Facebook are always asking, why do I feel so bad? Why do I feel like shit? Can anyone help? And something I always say...
Here we go. Here it is.
Something I always say to people is, how much water do you drink?
Ooh.
Right? And people be like, I drink 2 bottles a day. I'm far too less. You're not drinking nearly enough water. You should be drinking close to a gallon of water a day, right? It's
half your body weight in ounces.
Yeah.
Well, I think the easiest way to think about it, for me at least, is however many calories you consume, you should be consuming that many milliliters of water.
Okay.
So I eat about between 28 and 3,000 calories a day. So 2,800 to 3,000 calories. So I'm drinking 3 liters of water at least a day.
And it's so weird because I would go on times where I just didn't drink any water, right? I just not even think about doing it.
Right.
If I don't have my water bottle with me at school or something, and I bring my water bottle the next day and drink 8, 9, 10 water bottles of water, and now I feel completely different. I don't feel like shit. I'm not tired. My brain doesn't feel like a fucking walnut. I feel good. My head doesn't hurt. It's crazy that we're probably all there's probably a large portion of the population that's dehydrated because they only drink when they're thirsty.
Right.
Just because you're thirsty doesn't mean, and you're thirsty and you drink, that doesn't mean you're not dehydrated. That means your body's drying your fucking tongue out because it needs water.
Yeah, if you get to the level where you're so thirsty that you're craving water, you're far dehydrated.
Right. So you can be dehydrated and not feel any signs of being dehydrated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that needs to be a thing, man. Like, people need to be more well educated on how much water they need to drink.
I definitely don't drink enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've been
not.
trying more lately, you know, because when I was the first jiu-jitsu tournament I cut to 85, and I did like a water cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So like for the week before, I drank 2 gallons Monday, Tuesday, a gallon, or no, yeah, 2 gallons Monday, Tuesday, a gallon and a half on Wednesday, a gallon on Thursday. Then I cut it to a half a gallon on Friday, and then I drank like a cup of water on or one day back. So I started my 2 gallons on Sunday, half a gallon on Monday, gallon on Tuesday, half a gallon on Wednesday, and then like 2 cups on Thursday and Friday. But I would be peeing as much as I did when I had 2 gallons in my system.
Right.
So I would just be shedding all of that water weight, but not needing to run or anything like that. But when I was on that 2 gallons drinking it, I was like, holy shit, I feel completely different.
Yeah.
Like, a completely different human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. It's like, I feel like I don't know why that's not known.
I don't know either. I mean, you know, you hear hydrate all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are always saying drink water, drink water, drink water, but nobody listens, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, maybe it's the like, I know there's not really a stigma attached to it, but it's more like, well, water doesn't taste good.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
fucking does,
taste like
bitch.
anything, bitch. Like, do you ever work out? You ever work
Right.
out? And,
I love that shit.
Yeah.
dude, after a workout, like that's why I love doing like MMA stuff, and even like I know you do a lot of CrossFit. I know even CrossFit stuff like that. Those intense workouts just leave you in a state of like almost like primal. Like you're so primal in like in the state where you're just like water, food, like energy.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even like think about what's going on.
Right.
Dude, that's something I want to talk about because after I've been talking to Cody about the ketogenic diet in regards to competing, I started to think about other athletes like TJ Dillashaw. I bring him up all the fucking time because he's on a keto diet. And Cody, what is it that people would have to change, and what would it help with in regards to your athletic performance?
So this is pretty debated. There is a lot of evidence for and against the ketogenic diet for athletes. If you look up Jeff Volek, he has a lot of research done in this area. He's pro ketogenic, and then there's other researchers that are just completely against it, 100%. Like,
what are their grounds for being against it?
The main ground that I've ever heard, is that carbs, you can't live without them. You need them for your brain, and as you briefly mentioned, I said yesterday that your brain actually prefers fat as a fuel. That's what made our brains bigger, more than likely, and fat actually more efficiently activates our brain, makes you more clear, makes you more focused, makes you more alert. But the evidence for a ketogenic diet, so it relies heavily on the physiology of it, right? So you're eating carbs, and what happens about 2 hours after you eat a meal that's mostly carbohydrates?
You get tired.
You get tired, yeah.
And
Nap,
there's
bro.
crash, right? You crash.
Yeah, you crash, and there's a reason for that. You eat carbohydrates, and your blood glucose spikes, goes up. So your insulin reacts to that. Your pancreas secretes insulin to move that glucose from the blood into your muscle cells, into your fat cells, because you don't want to be hyperglycemic. That's dangerous. And then what happens is that as your blood glucose begins to go down, your insulin doesn't necessarily react at the same rate. And so what happens is you get a dip in your blood glucose about 2 hours, 3 hours after you eat. And that's what makes people tired. That's what makes people crash a little bit, makes them hungry. They think they need to eat more. So they eat again, and then it happens 2 hours later, and it's that cycle that I don't think is sustainable for an athlete. When do you generally eat a big meal before you work out?
Right. I don't know, man. Like I don't ever. Like
usually,
not a huge meal, but like something that's gonna be able to get me through a workout. You know,
I think
like
what he's
chicken
asking-
salad or something like that, like an hour before.
Like an
something
hour
that,
before,
yeah.
hour, 2 hours before. So if you work out, then if you eat an hour before you work out and you work out for 2 hours, more than likely you're going to have a crash about an hour into your workout. You're going to feel pretty shitty, and I mean, it's going to impact your performance for sure. Whereas on a ketogenic diet, on the other hand, so now your main source of fuel is fat. Fat undergoes something called beta oxidation, where it gets broken down in your mitochondria. And short story is you have a lot of fat in your body. If your system is running off of fat, you're going to be able to tap those fat reserves in your body continuously.
Okay.
Essentially, you're never going to run out of energy.
So it's like a backup gas tank. Like it's like you're driving, you run out of gas, but like, oh, well, I'll just switch to my other gas tank now.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Exactly. Except you have about 20,000 calories worth of fat stored in your body. And that's huge. That's an enormous amount compared to how much you can store in your how much carbs you can store in your body, which is only about 500 grams.
Jesus.
Isn't that crazy?
That's ridiculous.
Like there's got to be a reason why we have more accessibility to a different fuel source than,
Well, yeah, I mean, that's probably what we should be eating, right? But as the world continues to progress, like, it's just some people, it's not as easy to only eat fat. You know what I mean? To have a fat-based diet. Like, people are like, well, fuck it. I just got home from work. I drove past McDonald's, got a Whopper, ate it. Now I'm going to crash, and then I'm going to eat fucking pasta for dinner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, people are so...
Carbs are fast.
Yeah.
They're easy to make. They're easy to get. They're all over. Fast food is based off of carbohydrates. You can't eat fast food without consuming a mass quantity of carbohydrates.
Like, we talk about this, got to be coming on like 5-6 times on this podcast, but we live in the easiest time of living right now. Like, everything is very easy. If you want food, go to the fucking food market. You don't have to hunt for your food. You don't have to pick fucking berries. You just go and buy it, right?
Right.
So I think with that, like, easy accessibility to everything, people are less likely to really care about what they're putting into their body.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Well, the thing is, too, the stigma on the word fat.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fat makes you fat.
Oh.
Right.
That's not true.
Well, yeah, right?
Why don't you, like, rattle off some foods that would be okay in a ketogenic diet?
Absolutely. So you're looking at a lot of vegetables. Mm-hmm. Vegetables aren't fat. They're carbs, but the carbohydrate content of vegetables is minimal. And you pair that with either like a lot of butter. Butter's a great source, grass-fed butter, or avocado oil, something like that. You're going to cook your vegetables in this fat. And then you're going to either eat like maybe some eggs, some fish, some meat, something like that. I mean, really, it's traditional foods. It's real foods that you're going to focus on.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't understand why more people don't get. I might try it sooner or later, right? Like we were talking yesterday. Like, when you're going to school and like you're at this age, it's kind of hard to figure out like, all right, like what can I put my time to right now? Like, and to a lot of people, adopting a diet, especially one that's as strict as keto, it's like, is that something you want to put on your plate? Like something else to maintain on top of all of your other, all the other things you have to do, because it's not a normal diet, right? So for people who don't know, there's a state of ketosis. Right. So you're trying to get to this goal state of this diet. So other than just being healthy for your body and losing weight and gaining muscle and just kind of manufacturing your system to be as best as it can be, there's also a state that you're going to live in now. So explain that.
Right. So on a ketogenic diet, the goal is to enter a ketogenic state or a state of ketosis where your body is transforming those fats that you eat into ketone bodies. Ketone bodies are what's going to supply energy to your muscle, to your brain, to your whole system, essentially. That's the goal, is to enter a state of nutritional ketosis. And you do that, by minimizing your carb intake, because once you stop eating so many carbs, you deplete your glucose sources, your glycogen in your muscle and your liver, and then it takes about 3 to 4 days, if you're really good about it, to enter that ketogenic state.
And what everyday feelings do you feel when you're in a state of ketosis? Like, what's different from like before you started a ketogenic diet, just living every day?
Right.
And even if you're on a different diet or super healthy or whatever it was, what's different from being in a regular state and a state of ketosis?
I would say the clarity.
Okay.
Just because you ever get done eating and you feel so full and your brain is kind of just like fuzzy and you can't really think straight. And then, you get that even middle of the day. You eat breakfast and you haven't eaten lunch yet and you're tired and you're just beat and you can't think straight. You don't really experience that on a ketogenic diet. save the first week. The first week of a ketogenic diet, you're adapting to your new source of fuel. A lot of people go through something called keto flu, where they feel dizzy, they feel tired, and that's just because your body is literally switching fuel sources. And it's a sugar withdrawal.
Right.
Essentially, for a week straight, you can get a sugar withdrawal. There are ways to alleviate a lot of the symptoms, like increase your electrolyte intake, drink a ton of water, and just make sure you're getting the appropriate amount of fat. But once you get past that first week, you really notice the difference.
Right.
It's immediate, I'd say.
And that's something with intermittent fasting too, right? It's the clarity that comes with just kind of depriving yourself from food and having your body run on its backup sources, which are fats, right? Like when you're not eating, for those of you who don't understand, when you're not eating anything, like intermittent fasting would be like, so if I don't eat until noon and after 8 o'clock at night. So all that time that I'm not eating, my body's running on backup energy, which would be my fat that's stored in my body.
Right.
Okay. But that makes sense, right? Like,
absolutely,
I don't know why more people don't do that. Like when we were talking about this yesterday, where this kind of idea of living life as we did in the primate days or Homo sapien days, as far as
early human days.
Yeah, early human days, as far as eating and living in that sense and working out and doing kind of these primal things that put you in a state of just having your body operate at its highest
optimal health.
Right. And if you think about it, like they were struggling for food, right? They were not always eating. They didn't open their refrigerator. No. They had to walk around and track animals, hunt animals, find reliable food sources. And that might have happened once a day, you know?
If that. Early humans were definitely probably fasting 3 to 4 days a week, full fast, not eating at all. And how did they get through those 3 to 4 days? They got through it on their fat stores. Right. They would go through more than likely they'd go through periods of bountiful harvest where they would maybe kill a couple animals. They would eat that, store the fat, and then during the winter months when they're not eating very much, they're able to tap into those fat stores, and we can still do that as humans.
And I think it's probably a good fucking idea.
It really is. And if you think about it, you mentioned that maybe ketogenic diet would be a struggle for people with a lot on their plate. Mm-hmm. But what I want to counter with is there's a beautiful thing about ketogenic diet in that you can intermittent fast so easily. You can wake up, you can drink some coffee with a little bit of oil in it, and you can be good until 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. You don't need to eat between that time. Whereas if you're not on a ketogenic state, you're running off of carbs, you're going to be craving food.
So for those, say someone who doesn't want to adapt to the ketogenic diet.
Right.
But they want to intermittent fast.
Okay.
Would it still be beneficial to them?
Absolutely. Intermittent fasting beyond a ketogenic diet has so many positive health effects. I have it pulled up here, but it ranges from a higher metabolism. You can actually improve your muscle growth and synthesis if you're into working out. Improve responses to meals even. It can, just intermittent fasting can help attenuate, let's say an individual has type 2 diabetes, so they're having trouble with their insulin response. Mm-hmm. They're a little bit insulin resistant. Just introducing an intermittent fast into their lives shows an improvement in their response to insulin.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And think about how easy that is. I mean, even if you're going to fucking eat pizza for lunch and dinner, just the fact of not eating that until noon and not touching it after 8 p.m.
makes a huge difference.
Will help your body that much. Those little hours that, if you think about it, man, if you're really not thinking about food, like you can probably go close to a whole day without eating. Like me, myself, I usually tend to eat like one meal a day.
Okay.
Right? Not because that's like the diet I'm on or anything like that, just because like I go to class, I don't make food before class, maybe coffee, right, with my MCT oil, and that'll hold me over, like you said. But I mean, I'm not eating when I'm at school, right? And then I come back home, I'm eating dinner. My uncle's making dinner, I eat that, and that's probably it for the day.
Yeah.
So that alone is just like, well, okay, there's something there.
So yeah, the goal is to get people, I mean, especially from a healthcare standpoint. It's to get people to understand that you can intermittent fast very easily. You just have to not eat, like you said, before noon. I would say before 2. I would go a full 16-hour fast. So before 2 and after 8 p.m. It's that easy.
Yeah.
Now, Cody, we got those athletes right there. But Cody, I just worked out. I need to recover from my workout, bro.
Yeah.
I need to eat.
Right.
So if they work out in the morning, I just worked out in the morning, man. What do I do now?
Generally, if you're working out in the morning, you're probably going to have some time to make some food afterwards. But think about fat sources that are quick. Eggs. Eggs are great. Fat, protein. And a lot of recent research is suggesting that you can improve muscle recovery more efficiently on a ketogenic diet. We're not sure. We believe it has something to do with the ketone bodies that are produced. They do a lot of weird signaling in the body. We're not really sure what they do yet, but we know that most of it's positive. And Jeff Volek has shown some research that endurance athletes have recovered faster and came back stronger after workouts on a ketogenic diet compared to a carbohydrate diet.
That's ridiculous.
I think that's one thing, is that the activity of the general public is so low that we stopped looking at fuel as fuel. We started looking at it as food.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like anyone that's looking to improve themselves, we talked about this earlier, it's like you have to stop looking at it like it's a precious little
you have to start building
orgasmic
relationships
Yeah.
with your
Stop
food.
thinking food is solely for mouth pleasure,
Right.
and more to benefit your body to run. Like
To
think
live.
of eating as putting the nozzle into your gas tank, and that's it. Nothing more than that. Like, don't care about the taste. Like, that's a perfect world, right? Like, it's much easier said than done. Like, there's so, especially with especially when we're here in Chicago and probably everywhere else, every big city across the world, there's so many good fucking things to eat, and it's hard, man. It's hard to think of food as this, this source of energy in and of itself, and then so many people become like insatiable with the fact of like, well, but pizza's good. Like, I want to eat pizza. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to talk about is, I talked about it with Cody earlier, is a fear. It's a legit fear I had from the way that I fuel my body when I was an athlete, like in high school or college. The fear of, what if I crash? Like, what if I crash before this huge athletic event and I can't perform? Like, you ever had an event where you're like, wow, dude, I'm like feeling like shit. I'm sluggish right now.
Yeah.
Out of energy.
Yeah.
I mean, because I played hockey in high school. I mean, I had those days. I definitely wasn't on a ketogenic diet in high school. I didn't start this until about 2-3 years ago. So during high school, I definitely had those feelings of, man, like, I'm out of energy, gonna crash. So what's the quick fix? Let's get our bodies running off of fat. Let's get ourselves adapted to a fuel source that makes sense and can keep you going. I mean, 20,000 calories is a lot.
Yeah.
Because listen to how, like, sugar dependent I was when I was an athlete in college. Like, after I'd get done weighing in, I would have what I told you earlier. I would have a bagel with just a shit ton of jelly on it. And I'd maybe throw like a little bit of like turkey on there too, where I'm a wrestler, so like I'll eat whatever the fuck comes my way.
Yeah.
And but then in between every match, I might have like 4, maybe 5 matches in a day. In between every match, I'm pounding the Gatorade, and I'm pounding literally just a half piece of, or just one piece of bread folded up with just jelly slayed in it.
Yeah.
So it was like, ooh, gotta get my fuel, and that's not sustainable.
Right.
Imagine if you're in the wild, or you're doing a specific athletic event like Ironmans and stuff like that.
Right.
There's plenty of Ironmen that do ketogenic diets because the fat will last them so much longer.
But I've heard of people, they do eat like candy bars or things like that. Like Ironman runners, they eat that candy bar in between as this source of like, I need to replenish my system of sugar to get that, not that energy that we can't feel that will keep us going, but that energy we can feel that's like, all right, I'm not gonna like, you know what I mean? Like we talked about the clarity of a ketogenic diet and stuff like that, but there's something about sugar that you can literally feel in your fucking like skin, in your brain, right? It's that stimulant that's like, oh, I'm here now. Like now I can keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's some interesting physiology behind that. So when you're working out and you throw some intra workout carbs into your routine or whatever, what you're doing essentially is you're providing more glucose to your blood so that you can continue to oxidize that instead of your fat. All you're doing in that instance is prolonging fat oxidation. It's not to say that none of you that are not doing a ketogenic diet are not burning fat. Mm-hmm. Everybody burns fat. When you sleep overnight and you're fasting, technically, right, you're burning fat because you're not eating. Whereas on a ketogenic diet, what you're doing is you're just foregoing that carbohydrate oxidation and continuing to burn, like I said, you're continuing to burn fat, and you don't get that mental breakdown. You don't, you maintain mental clarity. And I just think that it's the mental clarity and the continued energy source that I think would benefit those endurance athletes.
Yeah, for sure. The hell is I going to bring up? Do you use any Onnit supplements?
I don't, but I have looked into Onnit. They are an excellent company, I think.
Yeah, I use a lot of them, and one of the things I use a lot is Shroom Tech Sport, and it's I think it's psilocybin mushroom. No, psilocybin mushrooms what you trip off of, right? Yeah, that's definitely what it is. Can you look that up? It's called Shroom Tech Sport. I don't have internet anymore for some reason. But you might be a little more educated on what it is than I am, but I know they made it off of these mushrooms that these farmers found that they started eating, and they found that they would get much more work done during the day when they were eating these mushrooms, and they reported it, and from there on. Okay,
yeah. I mean, I'm looking at their website right now on it, and I mean, these stats are hard to argue with. Yeah, showing to increase your bench press reps by 12%.
Tasty.
Right. What is the mushroom called? Does it say on there?
It does. I can't see that. I have not found that yet.
I know that that and Alpha Brain too. Alpha Brain's super good. They did a double-blind placebo study on that, which basically means, for those of you that sounds like a different language too, the experimenter and the participants don't know what group they've been assigned to, and the results will be portrayed as such. So the only time the researcher gets to see results is at the very end, and he has no idea.
Oh, right.
What group anyone has been taking a part of. So
no outside influence, man. Come on.
Yeah. It's weird, man. I'm a psychology major right now and going through my classes still, and we were talking about this very strange study about I'm in a class called interpersonal relationships right now, and it's all about why we're attracted to each other, why we crave relationships, stuff like that. And they did a study. They did a study on. They had people come in, and they had two very average looking research assistants, Confederates. And Confederate, not Confederate racist, Confederate they're in on the experiment. So these participants would come in, and the research assistant would say, "Hey, I'm still setting up. Can you hold this for me?" And they'd either hand them a diet soda that was very cold or a coffee that was very warm. And then they would do that, and then afterwards they would fill out a survey rating how attractive the research assistant was. And every time they got a warm cup, they rated the research assistant higher on all attractiveness, all questions related to attractiveness, they rated her higher on, or him higher on. But it was a different research participant and different Confederates each time.
Sure.
Man, I'm going to start handing my girlfriend a bunch of hot cups all the time.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. So, when you go on your first date,
spicy, dude.
Make sure you give them,
hot
coffee.
Beverage.
Hey, can you hold my coffee really quick?
Yeah. Ooh.
And then you're fucking good to go.
You sly little devil.
Right?
Slide right in there.
Psychology will get you the woman of your dreams.
That's
or man, if you're into that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super weird stuff,
or
man.
them.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, just getting into why your body is the way it is. You know, whether it be a ketogenic diet or whether it be, the inner mechanisms of your brain. Like there's so much we don't understand, and so much of it is so subjective. Like it's so, oh, we just do this because we do this. Like there's no real backing or explanation for it. That's just how we're wired.
Oh. Definitely interesting.
Interesting, my fellows.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But yeah. Well, we're closing in on 40 minutes here, so I think we've done a good job. Okay. Cody, man, it's great talking to you. I hope you come in soon again. We can get another one in here.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Yeah. Eddie, we'll see you on Thursday.
Hey, you see me on Thursday?
We'll see
you don't know that.
Well, we might, hopefully. We're going to hope for Thursday.
Oh, you're talking about Thursday podcast.
Thursday podcast.
Oh, we do our podcast on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And
because
what's today?
Not my cleaning lady. The place I live has a cleaning lady, and she is she stands like a silverback gorilla.
Oh.
So she stands completely back bent and walks on her heels.
Interesting.
And is very loud, like throws the vacuum around on the floor. And just like, if I'm in the basement, it's just...
It's terrible.
Oh my God. So we cannot do a podcast when she's there. And I think she's there on Tuesday this week. So that's a no-go. But Thursday. I will see you Thursday.
Yeah, you'll see me Thursday. Dude, I actually think that I might jump on this fucking ketogenic shit.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look into it a little bit. Like, not look into it, and I have all the information I need, but just trying to talk myself into making that dedication.
I've been 2 days straight. I've been hanging out with Cody for 2 days. 2 days straight, man. I haven't eaten a single carb, except the donut behind the fridge when he wasn't looking. No.
You son of a dog, dude. You just inhale it. Inhale it. Yeah. But quick question, though.
Yeah.
So, breads, right? High in carbs. But what if it's like a gluten-free one, or like something that's like very low in carb? Like,
I mean, they do make, so they do make like a low carb bread, or there's like low carb tortillas.
Yeah, I'm a big tortilla guy. Like I eat a lot. Everything that I'm going to eat is on tortillas.
A good thing to keep in mind is that if you're going to eat carbs, you should focus on fiber, because fiber just goes through you, right? You don't absorb it. So if generally those low carb tortillas or breads are going to be high in fiber. Fiber is great for your gut health too, so that's not a bad idea.
What about like cheese?
Cheese is great.
Really?
Yeah, it's I mean, cheese is all fat and protein.
Like cream cheese is real fat. It has a lot of fat in it too, right?
Yeah. I think all cheeses are just mostly fat, and then depending on the cheese, it's protein.
Cheese? Not a lot, right?
No. Cheese doesn't have very much carb. Maybe like a gram for every 7 to 8 grams of fat.
On this keto. I'll just eat quesadillas all day long.
Hey, can you bring me that wheel of
avocado
cheese?
oil, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and throw a slab of butter on top.
Yeah.
How'd you know about avocado oil?
I mentioned it earlier.
Oh, shit, because the other day was the first time I heard about it.
But I've used it before, and you know what? All those oils, you cannot taste it. You really can't taste much of a difference. Like,
really?
I really can't. Like, but the difference between peanut oil and avocado oil, like, I guess it does vary on the food.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much a taste thing. It comes down to actually something called smoke point, which is the degree at which an oil will begin to smoke.
Okay.
So the lower the smoke point, obviously, the quicker it's going to begin to smoke. And what's happening in that process is you're converting molecules into reactive oxygen species, which are damaging to your body. So something like, let's say olive oil, I think it has about a 320 degree smoke point. Butter has, I believe, 350. And then avocado oil has 520.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's actually the best oil to cook with, because you'll get less of that conversion to reactive oxygen species.
Huh. That's fucking crazy.
Something to keep in mind.
Boom.
It's also crazy to hear that butter is actually like good for you.
Butter's great for you.
And everyone, you know what I mean? Like everyone's like, dude, you're putting butter on that?
Oh, slaying it with butter, bitch.
Yeah, dude. Like
that was sassy.
That was super sassy, dude.
Yeah,
especially in those pants.
Oh, these yellow.
Ooh.
They're not pants, motherfucker. They're shorts. Banana shorts.
They are banana colored.
Banana tailpipe.
But remember, only 2 medium-sized bananas a day for you if you're on the ketogenic diet, sir.
That's it.
That's it. No more carbs for you, bitch.
Maybe I'll have 1.5, and then I'll have like some granola. I don't care.
A cracker. Are there any? I wonder if there's like ketogenic chips out there.
A lot of companies are starting to make more ketogenic products. You'll actually, if you look up certain companies like Fat Snacks or Fat Fudge, they're making ketogenic cookies, ketogenic brownies, ketogenic fudge.
I'm so hungry.
Yeah, I mean it's a movement, and it's coming.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you've kind of mentioned that, like cheese and butter and like, you know, those tortillas and shit like that, like I feel like it could not be that hard to stay in this ketogenic.
It really isn't. And when you think about it, like when you're eating carbs, what are you generally adding to them to make them taste good besides sugar?
Butter, right? Fat, yeah.
So why are you adding all that fat?
Right.
You know, because it tastes good,
Yeah,
and really because your body's probably craving it.
Right.
You subconsciously craving all that fat. You might as well just eat it.
Dude, I can eat like ketogenic quesadillas every day. Guac, chicken, cheese, butter, fried in fucking avocado oil.
I'm gonna go home and make that tonight.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I could eat that every day and be totally fine, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of hungry, guys.
Replace those Taco Bell quesadillas with
yeah. Well,
some homemade food.
I usually don't eat fast food ever, but yesterday, I know that we talked about this before on the podcast, but I had a jiu-jitsu tournament yesterday, which I took gold in, motherfucker.
Gold.
2 submissions, triangle and the arm bar.
Yeah, he broke the arm of somebody who was the son. He had a mother.
Ripped it off.
He had a family.
That picture I sent you is hilarious, though. It's just me, like, grimacing and, like, trying to push it down as hard as I can, and this kid's arm is, like, pointed towards the ceiling in an acute angle. It's pretty bad. But all right, well, there's any way to end it. No, I eat. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I eat that because I was like, fuck it, I just did this. Yeah. I'm like, this is my celebration. I get the fucking Taco Bell dog shit food.
It's pretty
pretty bad.
It's pretty
I don't know
bad.
about you. I know Eddie, you're not a big drinker, but to me,
Not even a little drinker.
not even a little drinker, a not at all drinker, which is good.
That's
good.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that I could do that. I can do that, but
When I was in
I
high
just don't
school,
want
people
to.
used to think I didn't have sex because I didn't drink.
that is odd. That's an odd pairing, man.
Don't pair that with me.
But
I like to get down.
Taco
Friends.
Bell when you're drunk tastes like heaven.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like any fast food would though.
Yeah.
I bet it's got to be the salt.
it's got to be salt.
The salt.
But, like, you eat it when you're sober. Sometimes, like, if you've had it drunk and if you've had it sober, it tastes like dog food when you're sober.
Not me. Not to me.
Yeah,
Tastes
but you've
just
never
as
had
good,
it when
bitch.
you never had you never had it when you're drunk.
Oh, it's still good
I know.
every day.
I don't know, man. I feel like something dies inside of me every time I eat Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's probably your intestines.
That's probably dead rat meat that they're putting in there.
Ooh.
I told her to make your food. Oh, speaking of that, so one time I went to this fast food restaurant and they're like, they did that shit where they're like, oh, you want fries with that?
Mm.
But I don't know if it was fries that they said.
Mm.
But they're like, all right, well, would you like anything else? We have these. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, I would love some of those.
Yeah,
And then I go up to the line, I'm like, fuck, they fucking got me.
yeah.
And
That's how they get you.
That's how you get, dude. And then when I was going through the drive-thru yesterday, she's like, would you like anything else? And I was like, not today, bitch. Make it with love.
Make it with love. All right, that's a good one, dude.
Yeah.
You know what? I watched this podcast with Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky, and they're both comedians. They're married, and Tom Segura's always on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Dude with the shirt
Always.
off?
No, that's Bert Kreischer. Bernd Chrysler. Sorry.
It's a burnt Chrysler.
Tom Segura is a comedian. They're super funny, but they have these like they have a lot of like inside jokes on their podcast, and they'll tell their listeners to do things like they do a lot, like they review funny videos that they find on the internet that people send in. And they'll talk about them and like laugh their ass off about them, and then people will make songs with what happened in the video, etc. But what they'll do is they'll tell their listeners to go send videos of themselves in a drive-through saying some of the inside jokes. And some of the inside jokes like, hi, Hitler. Like, there's this girl, this little tiny girl, little baby. She's making a YouTube video. She's like, hi, Hitler. And then she just talks for the rest of the time. Like, she's talking to Hitler. So
Oh my
people will
God.
drive up through the drive-through and be like, oh, hey, Hitler. Can I get a... And people just don't, like, they don't even question it. Like, they have no idea. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen this video, but it's this lady and her son are getting arrested because they're banging.
Oh, wait,
Right?
hold on a second.
Yeah.
Bring me back here.
Yeah.
Let's digress.
This lady and her son are dating and banging.
Oh, that's cool.
Because it sounded like you said lady and her son.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what you said.
That is what I said.
Okay.
That is what he said.
So, and there's a part of this video where he goes, and then, I asked him, would you ever date your mom? And I said yes. All right. Or no, it was, would you ever date your son? And I said yes. So people went to the drive-thru and was like, yeah, let me get a number 3. Would you ever date your son? And they're like, what? Excuse me? Oh, yeah, I'll take it with no bun. Just like throw that on and be like, all right, cool.
Oh, man.
It's awesome. But they did this new thing where they told people to call their parents or videotape themselves at the dinner table asking their mom if on their dad's, the eve of their dad's 70th birthday, so his last day of being 69, if they will 69. And I did it to my mom. And she was like, what the fuck, are you fucking kidding me? And she hung up on me and she didn't talk to me for like 3 days. But there's some videos of people doing it at their dinner table and like very foreign parents and like, what?
Sure.
What do you mean 69? Like, it just makes it 10 times funnier.
Nice.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to this podcast. It was a great time. We hope to get Cody on again, and I know you guys are probably all getting tired of Eddie by now.
Hey, everybody, go to fighterslife.com.
Fighterslife.com. Read the best blogs.
I also have an
you ever
Instagram
read.
too, dude. _Fighters Life, because somebody has a fighter's life and he doesn't
really?
even fight.
And they're not even living the fighter's life.
Dude,
They just play Tekken a lot.
Fucking posers.
Fucking posers.
Except I didn't post my blog this week, so am I
Sounds
posing?
like a lot of
Ooh.
hoopla.
Shit. Sorry, guys.
All right. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and we'll see you now, or we will see you another time.